Austin's biggest shock, Travis Hunter heads to the Chiefs. An earth-shaking update just dropped in the NFL world. Travis Hunter is expected to suit up for the Kansas City Chiefs, a move that has sent shockwaves through the league. This is next-level news, folks. Hunter, a rare two-way phenom from Colorado, won the Heisman Trophy just last year. The Jaguars famously drafted him second overall in April and signed him to a historic 4-year, $46.65 million fully guaranteed deal, complete with a jaw-dropping $30.6 million signing bonus. So what changed? Nothing official has been disclosed yet by the Chiefs. They haven't identified who they might trade or release in his place, which makes this even more dramatic. Picture the Chiefs shaking up their roster, but remaining tight-lipped on the biggest burning question: who's sacrificing their spot for Hunter? Adding fuel to the hype is none other than Travis Kelce, who recently speculated that opposing offenses might relentlessly target Hunter if he's playing defense, hitting him with deep routes until he physically wears down jaw-dropping. What Patrick Mahomes just revealed about the Chiefs' Super Bowl defeat will leave you stunned. This revelation flips everything we thought we knew on its head. Chiefs Kingdom, brace yourselves. Before we unravel this seismic revelation that's about to send shockwaves across the entire NFL landscape, make sure you're subscribed and that notification bell is on. You're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Drop a W in the comments if your faith in our Chiefs still burns bright, or an L if that February heartbreak shook your belief. And trust me, stay with me until the very end of this video, because what Mahomes just disclosed could completely transform your expectations for the season ahead. After years of dominance, glory, and magical postseason runs, the Kansas City Chiefs fan base has been tossed into an emotional whirlwind unlike anything in recent memory. We've watched our squad mesmerize the league, rewrite record books, and hoist trophies. But what happened in that Super Bowl shattered more than just a dream. It fractured the aura of invincibility that had surrounded Chiefs Kingdom. But now Patrick Mahomes has broken his silence. And what he's sharing about that loss and what it means going forward might just change everything. Let's rewind to that heart-wrenching night in February, a stage set for immortality. The Chiefs stood on the cusp of achieving what no team in the modern NFL era had done, a historic three-peat. But that dream unraveled into the bright lights as millions watched the Eagles dismantle what we believed was an untouchable dynasty. A Najivin Keteketo blowout, 2 uncharacteristic Mahomes interceptions, 1 return for 6. The silence in Chiefs Kingdom was deafening. Arrowhead had been electric all season, a 15-1 regular season run. Starters rested in Week 18, a playoff gauntlet stormed through with dominance. All signs pointed toward another coronation, but Super Bowl Sunday was a nightmare. Not just a loss, a collapse. The Eagles didn't just win, they imposed their will. Chiefs fans across the globe stared in disbelief, frozen by a performance that felt more like a horror film than a championship bout. In the days that followed, defensive end Charles Omenihu tried to spark hope. He spoke of Mahomes going on a revenge tour, a rallying cry that resonated. We clung to it. We needed it. In the darkest hours, belief is oxygen, but now Mahomes has delivered a message that veers in a very different and in far more profound direction. During a recent appearance on FanDuel TV's Up and Adams, Mahomes offered a calm, introspective reflection, one that cuts deeper than any dramatic promise of revenge. Rather than feeding the fire of vengeance, he revealed a mindset forged in discipline, wisdom, and resolve. "I'm honestly just ready to play football again," Mahomes said. At first glance, it's a simple statement, but let it sink in. That's not the voice of bitterness. That's not empty fire. That's clarity. That's evolution. Mahomes isn't chasing ghosts or headlines. He's chasing excellence. His calm isn't weakness. It's lethal focus. The kind of mindset that wins in January, not just on talk shows. Whenever you lose, he continued, you have that taste in your mouth. You want to go out there and avenge that or whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, I've had to sit back and listen to people talk and talk. The Kansas City Chiefs organization stands at a decisive turning point as the 2025 NFL season looms, with developments that could not only redefine their championship ambitions, but also reshape the very terrain of fantasy football. This is no routine offseason adjustment. It is a seismic tremor reverberating through Chiefs Kingdom and beyond, leaving fans, analysts, and fantasy managers urgently recalibrating their expectations for what promises to be one of the most captivating campaigns in recent memory. The championship caliber franchise, fresh from their battle in Super Bowl LIX against the Philadelphia Eagles, now confronts a tangled web of challenges and opportunities that will test the very core of their offensive identity. While the final result against Philadelphia did not tilt in their favor, the experience unveiled pivotal insights into what makes this Chiefs team flourish at its highest gear. Those lessons, forged in the fire of the league's grandest stage, have become the cornerstone upon which the organization is crafting its 2025 strategic blueprint. At the epicenter of this metamorphosis stands Patrick Mahomes, the transcendent quarterback whose arm talent, vision, and leadership have become inseparable from the very definition of Chiefs football. Under the ingenious guidance of head coach Andy Reid, an offensive mastermind whose creativity has continually stretched the boundaries of modern NFL play design, the Chiefs have always carried the capacity to annihilate opponents when fully synchronized. Yet, the 2024 season served as a sobering reckoning, a reminder that even dynastic powers are not immune to decline. Statistical evidence from that campaign illuminated a troubling theme of offensive inconsistency that shadowed Kansas City throughout much of the year. Their ability to unleash those trademark explosions, jaw-dropping aerial assaults, and ground dominance surfaced with unsettling irregularity. The Chiefs surpassed the 400-yard threshold only once the entire season, a jarring contrast to the 8 occasions they accomplished it during their dominant 2022 run. This collapse in production was far more than a statistical anomaly. It symbolized a fundamental transformation in the team's operating DNA. The breathtaking, game-shattering outbursts that had defined the Mahomes-Reid partnership became increasingly rare, forcing the franchise to lean more heavily on defensive grit and situational execution rather than their signature offensive fireworks. Their Super Bowl clash with Philadelphia was both a testament to their championship resilience and a stark reminder of what transpires when the offensive machine sputters. In that defining contest, the Chiefs learned once again that their absolute ceiling is unlocked only when Mahomes and the offense seize command of tempo and momentum. When rhythm falters, even the most meticulously constructed rosters can be left exposed under the blinding lights of the sport's grandest stage. Acknowledging these realities, the Chiefs front office launched a deliberate and calculated mission to arm their franchise quarterback with the deepest arsenal of offensive talent since their title-winning 2022 season. The vision was clear: assemble multiple layers of dynamic threats, enabling Mahomes to distribute the football with surgical precision while overwhelming opposing coordinators with simultaneous, unrelenting pressure. But just as the blueprint for an historic offensive renaissance seemed ready to be unveiled, breaking news rocked the foundation of the season. Rashee Rice, who had blossomed into a pivotal weapon in Kansas City's aerial assault and was expected to serve as a cornerstone target for Mahomes, now faces an NFL hearing on September 30th, an event almost certain to bring a substantial suspension. The ramifications of this looming penalty stretch far beyond a mere roster shuffle. Rice had solidified himself as not only dependable but indispensable. Within Andy Reid's meticulously crafted offensive system, Rashee Rice had carved out his place as a dependable and dynamic receiver, combining route running precision with trustworthy hands, the exact traits Reid prizes most in his pass catchers. His looming absence threatens not only to strip the Chiefs of reliable targets and steady production, but also to unravel the carefully cultivated chemistry he and Patrick Mahomes had been building. Early speculation suggests Rice could be sidelined for roughly 8 weeks, a timeline that would keep him out during pivotal stretches of the regular season. Such a prolonged absence does more than create a statistical gap. It forces Kansas City to completely re-engineer its offensive distribution, thrusting additional responsibility onto other receivers who must instantly step into elevated roles. This situation has ignited a domino effect across the Chiefs' receiving corps, instantly amplifying the significance of players once expected to serve as complementary options. The ripple effects are already reverberating in the fantasy football world, where draft boards and player valuations are being recalibrated in real time. Fantasy managers are scrambling to forecast how Kansas City's offensive hierarchy will rearrange itself, knowing that one correct gamble could define an entire season. The timing could hardly be more disruptive. Instead of fortifying established chemistry and expanding on their offensive blueprint, the Chiefs suddenly find themselves in survival mode, where adaptability and flexibility are no longer luxuries, but absolute necessities. Among the players thrust into the spotlight, Xavier Worthy has emerged as the most prominent beneficiary of this unforeseen twist. The electric young receiver had already teased flashes of brilliance in limited opportunities last season, but Rice's predicament accelerates his path toward becoming a featured weapon in the Chiefs' aerial assault. His raw athleticism and polished skill set suggest he possesses the tools to shoulder the burden. But the burning question is whether he can sustain championship-level production under the brightest lights. During Rice's absence last year, Worthy proved more than a fill-in. In an expanded role, he posted 59 receptions for 638 yards and 6 touchdowns, numbers that signaled both promise and resilience. What truly impressed, however, was his versatility. Reid, ever the offensive innovator, unleashed Worthy in unconventional ways, deploying him on 20 rushing attempts that produced 104 yards and 3 additional scores. That unique dimension showcased a player capable of being more than a standard receiver. It revealed a multifaceted threat who could redefine elements of Kansas City's offensive identity. From a fantasy football standpoint, this evolving storyline stretches far beyond rankings and draft slots. Managers who identify and capitalize on Worthy's ascension may secure one of the most valuable steals of the season. If he evolves into a reliable WR1 option, his stock could skyrocket into the territory that separates playoff teams from fantasy champions. The market is already responding. Worthy's average draft position has surged to 54th overall, astonishingly close to Rice himself in most formats, a clear indication that fantasy drafters are already pricing in his elevated role. For the Chiefs coaching staff, the challenge now lies in seamlessly integrating these adjustments without sacrificing the explosiveness that defines their offensive brand. Fortunately, Reid's proven track record of molding receivers and weaponizing their unique skill sets offers reason for optimism. Still, the transition won't be without growing pains. Developing new chemistry, refining timing routes, and redistributing opportunities will take time, and Kansas City will need to find its rhythm fast if they hope to sustain their championship trajectory. So now the question falls to you. Can Xavier Worthy rise to this monumental challenge and solidify himself as the next great weapon in Kansas City's arsenal? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more in-depth Chiefs coverage, because this next chapter, it's going to be legendary. It's the beginning of something much deeper. What we're seeing now is about far more than football. It's about legacy, longevity, relationships, and decisions that keep grown men awake at night. The Kansas City Chiefs have been the gold standard of the NFL for nearly a decade. And one of the primary architects of that success, right alongside Patrick Mahomes, has been number 87, the heartbeat of their offense, the safety valve in every crisis. But when whispers start about retirement, When a legend begins to publicly float the idea of year by year thinking, that's when you know the foundation is beginning to tremble. Let me paint the full picture. This isn't just about a tight end nearing the end of his career. This is about the potential end of an era, one that redefined dominance in professional football. We're talking about a duo, Mahomes and Kelce, that has tortured defensive coordinators, rewritten record books, and shattered playoff expectations year after year. But now there's hesitation in the air. Now we're hearing words like final stretch, thinking about the future 1 year at a time. And if you know the game the way I do, you know what that really means. The countdown has started. See, when a warrior like Travis Kelce, someone who's defined consistency, toughness, and postseason excellence, starts talking about the mental toll, that's not just idle speculation. That's the internal conversation beginning to spill into public view. Let's rewind the tape to that podcast interview, the one most fans dismissed as harmless banter. But I listened closer, and what I heard, it wasn't just a veteran giving a polished answer. It was a man staring down the final chapters of a Hall of Fame career, wondering how many more pages he truly wants to write. And that's why Chiefs fans should be concerned, because this isn't just any player. This is Patrick Mahomes' most trusted weapon, his red zone assassin, his third down lifesaver. When the pressure is suffocating and the moment demands a play, Mahomes looks one way toward 87, and Kelce delivers, always has, until maybe now. Because here's the truth. Last season, the numbers told a different story. Production dipped. Red zone dominance wasn't as automatic. Explosiveness wasn't quite the same. Was it age, offensive evolution, fatigue, or was it something deeper, like a man already mentally wrestling with what life after football might look like? Let's not forget, Father Time is undefeated. And while Kelce still has flashes of greatness, the question isn't, can he still play? It's, does he still want to? Because there's a brutal reality in this game. The hits feel heavier when you know the end is near. The mental weight becomes crushing, and suddenly every yard you fight for becomes more expensive, more taxing. If Travis Kelce steps away soon, it reconfigures the entire Chiefs offense. For years, defenses have been forced to game plan around the Mahomes-Kelce connection, double teams, bracket coverage, entire schemes designed to neutralize number 87 over the middle. If that element disappears, defensive coordinators get aggressive. The field compresses. Mahomes is forced to rely on unproven weapons in the biggest moments. It's not just a personnel shift. It's a seismic tactical shift. And it doesn't end there. There's also the contract situation, a variable every fan needs to factor in. When a player of Kelce's stature enters a contract year, it's never just about dollars. It's about what's left to prove, what matters most, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. Let me tell you something that gets lost in the noise. Championship windows are fragile,